Dear students, welcome back to lockdown classes. Myself Abdul Rahim. Today I am getting to conduct revision lecture for revising the topic that is the S block elements. This chapter belongs to class 11, part 2, chapter number 3, on the basis of NCERT syllabus. So, I am going to revise you this chapter here. Whatever important points regarding this chapter, I am going to illustrate here. And as far as this chapter is concerned, you remember one thing, that if you are perfect in periodic table, chemical bonding and redox reaction, these three fundamental chapters, if you are too much strong in these three chapters, then this chapter is so far too much easy for you. Okay? But still I will try to revise that all the points whatever is possible. So begin. The chapter is the S block element. Sorry. The S block elements. There is compulsory one question asked in NEET. In NEET examination, they ask at least one question. And as far as JEE is concerned, it depends on the paper setter whether he take question from his block or P block. It depends on him. But as far as NEET, there is compulsory one question will be asked on this topic. So, what is this topic? See, first of all, what do you mean by S block elements? What do you mean by S block element? S block element means the elements in which last electron, what I say, the elements in which last electron enters in the outermost S orbital. Outermost S orbital, that is called S block elements. Okay? Let's take an example. Suppose you are taking beryllium here. The symbol is Be, atomic number 4. Okay? Now what is the electronic configuration, sir? 1s2, 2s2. Right, sir? Instead of writing 1s2, I can write noble gas having atomic number 2, He2. Okay? You can also write in this form also. Now come here. This is 2s2. And you know, S orbital has capacity value of 2 electron. Therefore, here these 2 electrons will become in this form. The 2 is here, third one is here, and this is the fourth one and last electron. This is the last and fourth electron. Okay? This electron enters in the S orbital. This is nothing but S orbital. That's why you call these elements as S block elements, in which last electron enters in the S orbital. Okay? Okay. Now, as you know that S orbital contains only 2 electrons. Its capacity is 2 electrons. Whereas for P subshell, it has capacity of 6 electrons for D 10 and for F 14. Okay. Now, okay, there are two groups on the basis of capacity of S orbital. That is group 1. I am writing here. And group 2. Please come here and see it now. Group 2. So basically, there are two groups in S block, whereas B block can For P block 6 group, you already studied about that. But as far as the block element is concerned, only there is one group. Okay. Now, what are the elements present in group 1 and group 2? We will see. Okay. I am writing the name and symbols here. The first one is lithium. Second one is sodium. Third one is potassium. Then rubidium. Then what is next, sir? Francium. And next one is, last one is, what is that, sir? Irinaga Rapsis. Oh, sorry, I have one mistake here. Before that, it is after rubidium, Rapsis for cesium. And after that, rubidium. These are the 6 metals present in group 1. Okay. So now come towards group 2. What are the elements present in group 2? The first element in group 2 is beryllium. After beryllium, there is magnesium. After magnesium, there is calcium. Strontium. After calcium, there is strontium. After that, barium is here. Then, what is here, sir? The last one is radium. So these are the elements of this block element. All are metals. Okay. The first group here we will discuss first of all. First group elements are called as alkali metals. Alkali metals. Why these group first elements are called as alkali metals? As you already studied in 11th class and you are preparing for it, but still I am going to remind you. So hope you got this answer. Why you are calling group 1 element as alkali metals? Answer is, sir, because these metals when dissolved in water, they form what, sir? They form hydroxide or oxide of these elements when dissolved in water, or when they react with water, they form hydroxide, very strong hydroxide, that are called alkali. Hence the name is given alkali metals. Let's take an example. I take here, I take sodium. Sodium, when you dissolve the sodium in water, it will form what, sir? It will form NaOH. Okay, it's not balanced, it is balancing 2 moles of sodium and 2 moles of sodium hydroxide in aqueous form. Since this hydroxide is strong base, so it is called alkali. It is alkaline nature. Therefore, the first elements are called as alkali metals. Now come towards what is that, sir? Group 2 element. These are called as alkaline earth metals. Earth metals. These are called as alkaline earth metals. Why these are called as alkaline earth metals? See, as you can see here, as you know, this metal of this group first metal combined with water and form hydroxide. In the same fashion, this group second element also react with water and form hydroxide, but reactivity is so small as compared to alkali metals. Let's take an example, magnesium, and try to dissolve this in water. what will be the product, sir? The product will be this magnesium hydroxide twice. Okay, it is not still balanced and it will balance. Okay, 2 moles of magnesium propelled 2 moles of this water. And what product you are getting here? It is here. So what is that, sir? Here you are again taking hydroxide. It is nothing but alkaline in nature, and whatever metals you are obtaining from earth crust, you are obtaining from earth crust. Hence, these are named as alkaline earth metals. These are alkali metals and these are alkaline earth metals because these elements are obtained from earth crust. So it is the fundamental definition part for these two groups. Now we will see their properties, their electronic configuration, atomic size, atomic radius, and hydrogen energy. Whatever remaining parts are there, I am going to start now. That are too much important. Okay? But before that, we will see the electronic configuration of these elements, because electronic configuration is the decider for their chemical reactivity, chemical properties. Okay? Now see, the symbol of lithium is Li. For sodium, you know Na. You also know for potassium K. Rubidium Rb. For cesium, it is Cs. For francium will be here, sir. Sorry, again I repeat that rubidium. It was francium. I missed again that. Okay, francium. So it is francium. Atomic symbol is Fr. Listen here, small sp I am putting. It means that it is a radioactive element. Okay. Now see the atomic number of these elements. Hope you all are remember the whole periodic table with their atomic symbol, atomic number, and their particular place in the periodic table. So here lithium is 3. For sodium atomic number is 11, 90. For rubidium 37. Here cesium 55, and here is no doubt it is 87. Now come here. Come towards second group element, that is alkaline earth metal. For beryllium, we know symbol is Bv, not Bv, it's a Be, not Bv. Okay, come back. For magnesium, symbol is Mg. Calcium, you know Ca. Strontium, you know Sr. For barium, Ba, and for radium, Ra. Okay. Now, what will be the atomic number? You only increase atomic number of these elements by 1 unit. Okay? By following the group first element's atomic number. Suppose you got atomic number of lithium is 3, beryllium will be 4. For magnesium 12, for calcium 20, for strontium 36, for barium 56, and for radium 58. Right? Okay. Now we write their electronic configuration. We know before lithium the noble gas present is helium. Right, sir? The symbol of helium is He, and the atomic number is 2. How many electron remains? 1. And it is 2s1. Now go in the same fashion. Now please go in the same fashion. It is neon 10, and the electronic configuration will be 3s1. What happened? Last electron enters in the s orbital. Come here, it's argon, Ar, it is 4s1. For rubidium, which is noble gas here is the Kr. Atomic number 36. It is 5s1. Right, sir? Then xenon 54, 6s1, and at last noble gas is radon, which is also radioactive gas, noble gas, and here atomic number is 80, 86, so then it is 7s1. Note down that. Now come towards here. Again, noble gases will be same, no doubt. You remember everything in S block, in P block, and also in D block. So come here. Helium, atomic number 2, but here 2s2. In this case, neon, Ni10, 3s2. Okay. Now, after that, argon 18, 4s1, and after argon, which is the noble gas again? Krypton 36, 5s1. Then after krypton, what is that, sir? It is xenon Xc 54, 6s1. And after that, sir, it is again radon 86, noble gas, and it is 7s1. This is radioactive gas, remember. Sorry, it is we are 4s2, it is 5s2 because we are under the alkaline earth metal 6s2 and 7s2. Sorry for mistake, sir, but it is correct now. So, what you are observing, there is only one electron present in valence shell in case of alkali metals. And if you compare this electronic configuration with alkaline earth metals, that is group second metals, then what you are observing, there are 2 electrons are present in valence shell. So the general electronic configuration for alkali metals is, I am going to write here, that is NS1. For group first, and for group second, here general electronic configuration is NS2. It is very simple point which I am starting here. Okay, because it is fundamental part. If you are strong in this part, you remember electronic configuration, you remember atomic symbol, then you are able to do whatever you are able to determine hydrogen energy, atomic size, and many more periodic traits of this chapter. Okay? Have you got this one? Okay. Now I am doing these all points. May I remove now, sir? Okay. Well, was the fundamental part for your now see after that we will see the chemical traits or periodic traits of these elements. First of all, we will see periodic trait is, it is atomic size. Atomic size. Okay. Here you know, as we move from lithium to what is the last element, sir? Which is francium. What happens at top to bottom? Atomic size increases. Atomic size what happens? Atomic size increases. Right, sir? Atomic size increases. Why increases, sir? Because you know number of shells increases. Okay. In the same fashion, if you see about ionic size, suppose I am providing you Li plus, then Na plus, then Na plus, then Rb plus, then Fr plus, and arrange them in their, excuse me, in their respective atomic size. Then what we observe? Observation will be this: francium has more atomic size and lithium has the smallest size. If you compare size of lithium and lithium plus, then which has the smallest size? Obviously, the cation has smallest size. Okay. So what your observation is? Atomic size from top to bottom increases in case of group 1. Same thing is to be going on in group 2. Whether you move from beryllium to what was that? Radium. Okay. So beryllium to radium, what happens, sir? Atomic size increases. The thing is same. Why? Number of shells increases. Now we want to compare atomic size of alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. Alkali metal and alkaline earth metals. Listen here. Atomic size for alkali metals and atomic size for alkaline earth metals. Clear? Now see. I will take a simple example. We will compare between these two. See, lithium and beryllium. First answer to this question, then we will move forward. Among these two, between these two, lithium and beryllium, which one has the smallest size? Definitely, beryllium is small in size. Why, sir? Because as we move from left hand side to right hand side in periodic table, atomic size of elements decreases. Atomic size of elements decreases. So remember, the atomic size of alkaline earth metals is always smaller than respective alkali metals in a particular given or selected period. Okay? This was the first property for both. Come to the next property, that is about ionization enthalpy. Okay? As I said initially here, if you are strong in periodic table, then this chapter is so far easy. So come to the second property, that is ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy. Okay? If you remember what is ionization enthalpy, that the amount of energy required to remove a valence electron of an element from its ground state, so from its gaseous state, that is called ionization enthalpy. We know the relation between atomic size, as I showed you now, and ionization enthalpy. Then it is very easy for you to determine the relation between these two, atomic size and ionization enthalpy. Or you are able to calculate, or you are able to evaluate the ratio of these elements. Okay? How? You know, atomic size increases, ionization enthalpy. Yes, ionization enthalpy decreases. So what happens in both cases, sir? From top to bottom again, lithium to francium, and in this case beryllium to radium. What happened to ionization enthalpy? Ionization enthalpy will be arrived in short form IE. IE will be decrease. It is decreases. Downward side means decrease. Again it is decreases. Okay? periodic table, chemical bonding and redox reaction, these chapters should be strong. Because if that chapter is strong, then it becomes too much easy as I am doing here. Okay? Well, come to the next property. Next property is hydration energy. May I move down? I put it as this. I put it as this. Listen here. The third one property, yeah, change your place now. The third one is hydration energy. The amount of energy is released when 1 mole of an ionic substance dissolved in water. So hydration energy is water. If you are taking another solvent, it is called solvation energy. We will further about it. Now, the thing is here, okay, atomic size with hydration energy. I am taking hydration energy. Okay, hydration energy. Is energy. Okay. Now, hydration energy and atomic size. If you remember the relation between hydration energy and atomic size, again you are able to determine relation between these. What is that, sir? Beryllium, radium on top to bottom, and what is to be on top to bottom or left to right. So you remember that atomic size increases, hydration energy decreases. Hydration energy decreases, and therefore here again hydration energy, again what happens, sir? Hydration energy is going to be decrease. Yeah, this one problem. Top to bottom hydration energy. What is going on? Decreases for both cases. For both cases. Okay, here is again I am writing here changes, Hg, hydration energy decreases. Clear? Okay, clear. Now write the small relation, if here is Li plus, then after that sir, then A plus, then what is that sir? K plus, then what is that sir? Dinaka, which is for okay, Rb plus, then CS plus. This is sufficient for the purpose. It is a radioactive element, that's why we will stop here. So this is the correct order for hydration energy. Lithium is small in size, therefore it has highest energy. The same thing is going on here. What is that, sir? Be plus 2, then Mg plus 2, then calcium Ca plus 2, then Sr plus 2, strontium, then Da plus 2. So, this is the order of hydration energy for both alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. Larger the size, smaller will be the hydration energy. On this topic, they may ask you a question, direct question there, what is the correct order of hydration energy for given ions? Okay, so larger the size, smaller will be the hydration energy. Got it, sir? Okay, now I am moving this one. Listen, if you are perfect with periodic table, you can also compare the properties of periodic properties of other group also, 13, 14, 15 and 16 and 17. It is very easy for you. You should be strong at fundamental concepts. Okay? Now come towards next. You will see some physical properties now. Physical properties, very small. One or two properties we will see here, only one or two properties, because we are trying to revise this chapter in a slow motion. Okay? Right. Now, come towards physical properties. Physical properties, sorry. Physical properties of group first and group second element. Okay? soft, even you can cut with the help of knife. I think you already studied in 10th class, School of Element, but still we have to study at some more level. But you also know that these alkali metals are kept in the bottle of kerosene because they are highly reactive to air and water. Now, in this case, we will see main property that is called flame test. That is called flame test. Flame test is a very fundamental test to determine that this element belongs to. Sorry, what is the name of that element? Which element you are observing by doing that flame test? So see here, the test is flame test. Flame test. What is flame test, sir? If you burn any alkali metals or even alkaline metals or their oxide or their salt, then what you will observe? If you burn them, you will find different types of color for different element. If you burn any element or their oxide, then or their salt, then what happens? They will show, that particular element will show their specific color. That color you have to remember for NEET exam 2020 or forward exam if possible. Okay? Now we will see which colors we will observe for different elements. So here for lithium, for sodium, for potassium and for rubidium and cesium. Rubidium and what color you are observing? The first one is crimson red. In case of lithium, we will observe crimson red color. Okay? And for sodium, we will see yellow color. For potassium, we will see violet color. For rubidium, we will see red violet color. What is it? Pink chocolate, sir? Yes, sir. Pink chocolate. Red violet color. Remember, these are this red, violet. Because before red, what is here? Violet is here. Violet. And for cesium, last one is blue color. We will observe. Okay. For lithium, crimson red. For sodium, yellow. For potassium, violet color. And for rubidium, red, violet. And for cesium, it is a blue color. In the same fashion, few elements of alkaline metal show color. Okay, we will see which will show color, which will not show color, and why these elements do not show color. So I am writing here beryllium, after that magnesium, after that, sir, what is that? Calcium, strontium, and barium. Listen, students, this beryllium and magnesium, in this case, electrons are tightly bound by the nucleus because their size is comparatively small as compared to this calcium, strontium, and barium. Okay, and their electronic configuration is, I am writing upper side, that is, I write here 2s2 and here is the 3s2. Again, what happened? These electrons are paired. Okay? These electrons are paired. For removing or exciting these valence electron, they require more amount of energy. So, this beryllium and magnesium do not show any color to the flame test. They may ask a question, which of the element will not show color test, sorry, or flame test, and they may give beryllium or magnesium. So you remember beryllium and magnesium do not give this test. Okay. Now see their colors for what is that, sir? Strontium, barium, and radium. Brick red. Here, brick red. Then, sorry, for strontium you are saying that, okay, I missed that one, the name of that color, okay, it was, yes, calcium, here is the brick red color of calcium, brick red color for calcium. For strontium is someone else. I missed that. I will find. But for barium it is apple green color. And for strontium, what was that? I'll see. Just a minute. Yes, crimson color. For this one is crimson color. Okay, it is crimson color. So, you remember about this flame test. Okay? Why this flame test we are observing? Whenever you provide energy in the form of heat, what happens? Whatever valence electrons present in this element, they get excited to upper energy level. And after that, they return back to ground state, their respective energy cell. When they are coming from top to bottom to their respective cell, they emit their energy in the visible region. They emit their energy in the visible region. That's why we are able to show or we are able to see color. Okay? Because Almighty God provided us this capacity that we are able to see only visible radiation range spectra. We are not able to see IR or ultraviolet region. Okay? And the same thing is to be going on here. Right? One more important thing is here that if you provide light energy instead of heat, if you provide light energy, then what happens? Electron can get completely ejected from their valence shell. If you provide light energy, what happens? Electron get completely ejected from the valence shell. Then that phenomenon can be used for making photoelectric cell. Photoelectric cell. So, in photoelectric cell, potassium and cesium, these metals are used. Both potassium and cesium are used in photoelectric cell. Why? Because their ionization enthalpy is very, very small. From there, you can eject electron easily. Okay? So remember these two elements. Clear? Okay, come to the next. After studying these physical properties, we will move towards chemical properties. What chemical reaction these alkali metals, not alkalis, alkali metals and alkaline earth metals do? Okay? Now write down next thing, chemical properties of element, or only you write down chemical properties, we will see for both of them. Chemical properties. The first property is reactivity towards air. The first property is reactivity towards air. Listen, I will take reaction for both this one and this one. The reactivity capacity may be something different because alkaline earth metals are less reactive as compared to alkali metals. Okay, here electrons are paired, they have small atomic size, but here electron is free, highly energetic, and atomic size is more than alkaline earth metals. Okay. Now see, first of all, reactivity towards air. Which elements are present mainly in air? You know, oxygen and nitrogen. These two elements are the main elements or main constituent parts of air. Okay. So here I take for this one lithium first of all. When lithium reacts with oxygen, it forms lithium oxide. The formula is Li2O. Okay, it is not balanced. I take here 4 moles of lithium where 2 moles of lithium oxide is formed. Okay, but in case of sodium, you will observe when sodium reacts with oxygen, it will form sodium peroxide. It is Na2O2. Right, sir? The third one is you take potassium, react with oxygen, and it is forming KO2. Such type of three different oxides you are preparing. Instead of potassium, you can also take rubidium or cesium. Rubidium, cesium both can form this oxide. So you know this is lithium oxide, this is sodium peroxide, and this is potassium superoxide. Because higher the size of cation, best is the ability to form superoxide. Okay. So here potassium, rubidium, cesium, these elements perfectly form potassium iodide. Okay. Now see, in all these cases, the oxidation number of alkali metals will be, or always, excuse me, yes, it will be +1. It is always +1, but the chain will be here. It is -2 in case of oxide. You studied in redox reaction. In case of peroxide, it is what, sir? -1. But in case of superoxide, it is -half. Okay, it is +1. For balancing this +1, -half will become -1. Small mathematical calculation, you remember that. So this is the chemical reaction of oxygen, or chemical reaction of alkali metals with oxygen. Now we will see chemical reaction of alkaline earth metals with air again. If you observe, if you take beryllium with oxygen, it will definitely form what, sir? It will form BO. Okay, but this reaction is not possible. It is a very important point. If you want to do direct reaction of beryllium with oxygen, it is an important point. Remember, this is very important point for your exam, because it should be powder. It should be powder. If you want to do the direct reaction, you have taken your beryllium and you want to do its oxidation. You are trying to burning oxygen with beryllium. What happens, sir? Beryllium oxide will not be formed because it has rock salt structure. It has rock salt structure. So it is very difficult to do that reaction. But if you grind it, if you make its powder, it becomes what, sir? In powder form now. Then this reaction is possible for you, that it will form beryllium oxide. In the same fashion, other elements also do the reaction with oxygen. But this is the special case because beryllium has small size, less reactive. And one more thing which I want to show you here. As you know, this oxygen is anionic in nature, and it is cation. This oxide is not purely ionic. Other alkaline earth metals oxides are ionic, but this is covalent in nature. Covalent in nature because due to small size of beryllium that is acting as cation, it distorts the electron cloud of this anion, that is oxygen. So its ionic character is displaced or disturbed by this beryllium. That is called polarization. Okay, that's why beryllium oxide is covalent in nature, whereas remaining other oxide of this group second elements are perfectly ionic. Okay, note that one, please. Well, after that reactivity with water, I have early show you, because why these are permanent metals, why these are permanent metals. We know that they react with water and form hydroxide. The second reaction, that is reaction with water, we already studied. Okay. Now come towards third one, reactivity with hydrogen. Reactivity with hydrogen. Okay, someone may ask, sir, you are showing the reaction with oxygen and not showing the reaction of nitrogen. It will come in, it will come after some time. You wait, because there are some anomalous properties shown by beryllium and lithium. In that case, you will observe that they are forming nitride, but whereas other elements of that particular group do not form nitride. Okay. Now come towards reaction with hydrogen. Reaction with hydrogen. Second one is with water. I will show you. Third one is, what is that, sir? Okay, this is hydrogen or dihydrogen. Almost all alkali metals do reaction with hydrogen and forms ionic hydride at 673 Kelvin temperature, except lithium. Lithium required more amount of temperature, but here except lithium, all other elements, suppose I take here sodium, it will do the reaction with hydrogen and no doubt it will form sodium hydride. Okay, it will form sodium hydride. It is purely ionic. But in case of lithium, what happens? Because it has very small size, its ionization energy is more as compared to other elements. Then what happens, sir? It will definitely form lithium hydride, but its temperature is 1730 Kelvin nearly. Okay? Yes, temperature is there. Okay. Now here, lithium is positive charge and hydrogen is negative charge. Whatever you observe, alkaline earth metal there, beryllium oxide is covalent in nature. In the same fashion, lithium hydride is also covalent in nature. Because what happens, sir? Sorry, it is not covalent, it is ionic in nature. Because size of hydrogen is so much small. You don't worry about that. So all the alkali metals form what, sir? What is that, sir? Hydrides. Okay, metallic hydride, sodium hydride, lithium hydride. Okay. Okay. Now come in the same fashion. Come here. If you take reaction between beryllium plus hydrogen, it will again form beryllium hydride. In the same fashion, if you take calcium, it is reacting with hydrogen. No doubt, provide heat. Then again, what will form? Calcium hydride. So these are again ionic hydrides of alkaline earth metal. So the reactions are same. Both are doing reaction with hydrogen and forming hydrides. But you have to remember what is the category of hydride. Whether it is covalent, it is ionic, non-ionic or slime. You have to remember that. Okay. So these are the ionic hydride. Clear? Well, come towards reactivity towards halogens now. Reactivity towards halogens. All alkaline earth metals or alkali metals react with halogens. Okay? Okay, you take any metal, any alkali metal and do the reaction of with this one halogens. You know, you show halogen with the help of X2. What happens, sir? It will form MX2. Right, sir? Right, sir. Sorry, MX2. If you take an example, you know number of example, I will take this example. NaC, sorry, it's not alkaline, MX only. So I have to balance this one. Take here, you take here MX. Okay. Now we are at NaC. It is forming 2 moles of NaCl. Okay. So 2 moles of alkali metals combined with 1 mole of any halogen to form respective salt. In that fashion, here again, if you take beryllium or magnesium, I take here now. Magnesium react with chlorine, fluorine, iodine. I take here bromine now. It will again form what, sir? Magnesium bromide. What I want to show that these are very simple reaction. You just remember the concept only. That all alkali metals or alkaline metals, alkali earth metal easily react with. They are very affinity towards halogens to form their respective salt. Okay. Well, today I will stop here. In next lecture I will move forward and very fast, inshallah. Okay. Thank you.
Here I am using technology because we have a very short time to complete this chapter. Okay, because we are under the situation of lockdown, and in that lockdown condition we are trying to cover whole syllabus within a very small time. Okay, so we are stopped in last lecture at the hydration energy. As I explained, the ionic size or atomic size increases, hydration energy decreases. Okay, atomic size increases, hydration energy decreases. This thing will be happen for both alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. Okay, and one more thing which I want to tell you, that the starting part of this chapter, which is depend on chemical bonding, if that concept of that chapters are clear, then it is very easy to solve this any question on this topic. Okay, because other part of this chapter which will come after some time, it is totally memory based. You have to only memorize chemical reactions, preparation of that particular compound, and keep in your mind to solve that or to answer that question. Okay, but wherever concept is required, I will try to clear it. Okay, now come here today. The next property is reducing nature. Okay, what do you mean by reduction, sir? Reduction means to gain the electron, but reducing nature means you are yourself getting oxidized and giving electron to someone. Okay, that is called reducing nature. So here alkali metals and alkaline earth metals are very strong reducing in nature, or they are very strong reducing agent. Okay, because they can liberate their electron of valence shell and form M plus ion, that is lithium, sodium, whatever you take. Because you know in electrochemical series that lithium is the highly or very strong reducing agent. So their strength I am showing here. This is the value of oxidizing potential. Here plus 3.5 plus symbol means what? Here I am taking oxidizing potential value. If you turn this one in as a reduction potential, it will become negative. The magnitude will remain same. Okay, so reduction potential or reducing nature of lithium is very high than other elements. Okay, so you move here now. Okay, I'll move. Now see here. Okay, an examination of ionization energy of alkali metals reveals that lithium should have the minimum tendency to lose electron, and thus its reducing nature should be minimum. This is the main concept. As we know, in alkali metals, lithium has very small size. Okay, so what we imagine, sir, since lithium has very small size, then it is not able, or it is very difficult to lose its valence electron as compared to for francium or rubidium, other elements, right? But still it have highest value of reducing potential. Why? This is the main concept. Okay, so answer to that question is here. The greatest reducing nature of lithium in aqueous medium, in aqueous medium, is accounted due to maximum hydration energy. Why lithium has highest value of reduction potential? Because it has high value of hydration energy. Because of that, it is strong reducing agent. Let's see the concept one more. Okay, see here now. Now see, lithium first of all in solid state, you try to convert in gaseous state, that is heat of sublimation. Then after that gaseous state, what you will do? You are try to remove that valence electron. You are removing this valence electron, okay? And after that, that Li plus from gaseous state converted into aqueous state. At that time, whatever amount of heat is liberated, that is called enthalpy of hydration or heat of hydration. So dear student, reducing nature basically depend on all these three values: heat of sublimation, enthalpy of ionization, and enthalpy of hydration or heat of hydration. So if you do all the sum of all these three terms, then you will find that this value for all these process for lithium is more as compared to other alkali metals. Okay, is it clear, sir? Okay, then move towards next concept. Solubility in liquid ammonia. Alkali metals are highly soluble in liquid ammonia, and they give deep blue color to that ammonia solution, because they metals that is lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, they dissolve in ammonia and generate free electron. Okay, because that metal is ammoniated with ammonia solution, and also the electron. That's why what happened, that solution become paramagnetic because of free electron, and also they show color because they absorb that solution of ammonia and other alkali metals. They absorb the radiation in visible radiation. That's why they show blue color to the solution. Okay, so what is to be going on in that one? See here, suppose you are taking, see here please, suppose you are taking sodium, it is combined with ammonia and it forms ammoniated cation and ammoniated electron. That is, electron is surrounded by ammonia molecules, and similarly sodium metal is surrounded by ammonia molecule. So this cation, this anion imparts color because of this electron, and because of this they are able to conduct the electricity. Okay, and again because of that electron they are paramagnetic in nature. Okay, when you are using ammonia and you are adding any alkali metals. But now if someone come, oh sir, it is very small quantity of ammonia, I want to add more amount of ammonia, then what happen? If you come and if you add more amount of ammonia, then what happen? That solution color is changes, and After that, what happened? It become diamagnetic. It become diamagnetic. Okay. Okay. And one more thing is here. Whatever solution you are obtaining, blue solution after adding sodium to that ammonia solution, what happen? If you provide a small amount of heat to that solution, it will liberate hydrogen gas. It will liberate hydrogen gas and also form sodamide. If I take sodium, it becomes sodamide. Here, okay, it is only amide because I have taken here yam, therefore it will form amide. So what thing you have to remember? Number one, you have to remember whenever alkali metals are dissolved in ammonia solution, they impart blue color to that ammonia solution because of free electron that is surrounded by ammonia molecule. Okay. Next one is because of that electron they are paramagnetic in nature. And what reaction is to be going on in that one? You again note down that this is the reaction. Any alkali metal, I have taken sodium here, it combined with X plus Y, whatever number you are taking here, it will be come with sodium, and whatever Y is here, it will become with the electron. Okay. That is ammoniated electron. Okay. Then this is the balance equation for that. These three things you have to remember. And last one, fourth one is that if you provide a small amount of heat to this solution, then what happen? It will form hydrogen gas and what happen? It will form amide also, which will act as a strong base. If you study what is that formation of benzene, for that purpose this is used. Okay. Forming benzene from chlorobenzene is done by with the help of this base, that is sodamide or alkali amide. Now come to next. Okay. Okay. If you are taking, suppose if you are taking alkaline earth metals, because we are studying from last lecture both alkali, alkaline, because properties are same, everything is same, only reactivity is different. Means their kinetic steady, that means their ability to do reaction, their ability to do reaction is something less of alkaline earth metal as compared to alkali metals. Okay. Now what is here? Again, if you add alkaline earth metal to ammonia solution, they will again impart blue color to that solution, and they will also provide free electron, that is ammoniated electron, to that solution. But here formation of hexaammonate is taking place. Okay. Okay. Because when you are obtaining blue color, after some time, what happens, sir? Solution is evaporated, then there is formation of hexaammonate is taking place. Okay. After evaporation, not direct, because you will first of all obtain blue solution. After some time you put as it is, then after a small time, what happen? It will form hexaammonated solution. Okay. Now come to the next. Now it is a very important and a very easy part of this chapter, and I say that main concept of these chapters are from periodic table and chemical bonding. That is overall finished. Now what is coming? Here whatever part now coming in this chapter is totally memory based. I will only explain. You try to note down in your notebook to sharp your memory and recall it again and again, revise it, and it will be beneficial for you, at least one question definitely in exam. Okay. Now what are that? Characteristics of some alkali metal compounds. Alkali metal compounds के कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज हमको जो है यहाँ पर पढ़ना है. Okay. So here are the, I am taking here in this case oxides. Okay, you already studied in first chapter. Sorry. Okay, here first of all we will study oxides of alkali metals. You know already studied in first previous chapter, when metal combined with oxygen, it will form metallic oxide. Some element what will do, they will form peroxide, and some also form super oxide. Okay, here as the example is given that when lithium combined with oxygen, it will form lithium oxide. Similarly, when sodium combined with oxygen, it will form sodium peroxide. And after that, sorry, in this case the formula is something expand, but it is near to you because in last lecture I have already explained. And after sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium, they form superoxide. And remember one important thing is, what is that? The stability of superoxide and peroxide. The stability of peroxide Na2O2, that is oxide-oxide single linkage, and superoxide, that is KO2, RbO2 or CSS2. The stability of this superoxide and peroxide increases with the increase in atomic size of metal. Okay, remember this point. If they ask in exam about stability order, then remember that stability of peroxide and superoxide increases with increase in atomic size. It is the point you have to note in this topic. Then we will move forward. As you know, the basic character of these oxide and hydroxides are very strong. In periodic table, alkali metals are very strong, basic in nature. Okay, even as compared to alkaline earth metal. Alkaline earth metals are less basic in nature, but these alkali metals are very strong in basic nature. Okay. Now come towards halides of alkali metals. Okay. Alkali metal dielectric. Okay, you know, you already studied from your high school classes that. Okay, sorry. Now, alkali metals combine directly with halogens to form ionic compound. You know, I think you were at from 8th class you are studying sodium react with chlorine, it form NaCl, that is stable salt. But what we have to remember for our NEET exam, that is the important. Okay, all alkali metals combine with halogens to form respective salt. Okay, what they ask? They ask in NEET among lithium, sodium, potassium and rubidium. Suppose I have provided you 4 elements. What is that, sir? Lithium, sodium and what is that, sir? Okay, here example is already present, sir. Okay, let's see. Okay, lithium iodide is here, lithium bromide, lithium fluoride and lithium fluoride. Instead of taking example of alkali metals, from that alkali metals I am selecting only lithium and comparing them with different halogens. Now what I want to show, what is the important as far as our NEET or CET is concerned. See, here we know lithium is very small in size. Okay, and we know about Fajans rule that if cation is very small and anion is very big, right, sir? Anion is very big and cation is very small, then it will form a very strong or very powerful covalent compound. Okay, it will act as a good covalent compound. So here lithium iodide has maximum covalent nature because of larger anion which is easily deformed the cation. Okay, what it means? Here is the lithium, here is iodine, here is the electron cloud over iodine. Then what this lithium will do? This lithium will destroy this electron cloud, due to which its ionic character get disturbed and it will become covalent in nature. So on the basis of that Fajans rule, which I say, that the concept of chemical bonding we have to apply here. If you are strong in that one, you are able to solve any question. Okay, so lithium iodide is the very most covalent, lithium bromide, then lithium chloride, then lithium fluoride. They may ask in reverse which is most ionic. It depends on their people that who are deciding that chapter or that preparing that questions on this topic. Well, come to next. Now, as far as their melting points are concerned, fluorides have more melting point as compared to chloride, then bromide, then iodide. This order I am showing here. Sodium fluoride is more having highest melting point, then sodium chloride, then sodium bromide, then sodium iodide. In general, fluorides have highest melting point. You remember only this point. Okay? So what you want to learn in this halides? The first one is on the basis of Poisson's rule, they may ask any kind of question. I only explain the example of covalent nature of lithium iodide. Okay, they may ask you ionic nature, vice versa. Then as far as melting point is concerned, fluorides have more melting point as compared to different halides, and the trend is as easy, that is top to bottom it is decreases. When come to next, salts of oxo acids. Salts of oxo acids. Okay. Now, first question is, what do you mean by oxo acids? You will, I think, you will study in case of chemical equilibrium that if hydrogen atom is attached to oxygen, that is hydroxyl group, and that group is attached to any oxo group, that compound is called oxo compound. Okay, suppose you have taken carbonic acid, the formula was H2CO3. Okay, in H2CO3, two hydroxyl groups are present. Okay, so whatever proton attached to that O, it get ionized in the solution. That's why that is called oxo acids. Now, here I am taking salts of oxo acids. Okay, here carbonates and bicarbonates. Carbonates and bicarbonates, you know the formula, M2CO3 is carbonates, and bicarbonates are MHCO3. Okay, because one of the metal is replaced by hydrogen. So they are very highly stable to heat and very good soluble in water. First point is they are stable to heat and they are most or easily soluble in water. Okay. The next point is their stability. Okay. Now see here. Okay, I do something color here, no problem. Now, the stability of these salts increases with increasing electropositive character from lithium to cesium. Okay, the stability of these salts increases with increasing electropositive character from lithium to cesium. So what they ask a question that among these four carbonates, which is most stable? Na2CO3, Rb2CO3, Li2CO3 and K2CO3. So you have to remember the concept that more will be the electropositive character. How electropositive character increases? It increases as the atomic size top to bottom increases. Okay, in periodic table you already studied. So lithium to cesium atomic size increases, therefore electropositive character increases. So which will come at the bottom? It will be most stable. It will be most stable. Okay, so your answer will be Rb2CO3. Okay, and least stable सबसे कम, that is Li2CO3. Therefore, on heating, it get decomposed to what is that, sir? Lithium oxide and CO2. Okay, you are not able to see. Okay, I make it last something. Okay. Now see, lithium carbonate is least stable, therefore on heating it gets dissociated or decomposed to lithium oxide and carbon dioxide. But other carbonates are stable. Okay? Okay, thank you. Come to the next. In the same fashion, here is the for bicarbonates. Okay? What happened to bicarbonates, sir? Okay, sir. Now see here. Now bicarbonate. Bicarbonates are also decomposed at relatively low temperature. What it means? As compared to carbonates, bicarbonates are less stable. Okay. Now, because they get decomposed at low temperature as compared to carbonates. So here is the decomposition of that is given. 2MH, sorry, it is a metal bicarbonate. You take any one, Na2, Li2, whatever you want to take. At 300 degree centigrade, they form metal carbonate, and carbon dioxide and water is removed. Okay. Now both carbonates and bicarbonates are soluble, soluble in water to form anarkali solution or alkali solution. Okay, that is basic solution for our any process. Okay. So come to the next one. That is again very, very important. So okay, before I move again to this concept, what you will remember now, you will remember that carbonates of alkali metals are more stable to heat, and their stability increases from top to bottom. Again, the thing is same for bicarbonates. But if you compare carbonates with bicarbonates, carbonates are more stable as compared to bicarbonate. Okay. Now come to the next concept. It is again memory based and very simple. I will explain only points to just remember. It is very difficult to explain each and every point in detail now. Well, anomalous behavior of lithium. Okay. Unnatural behavior of lithium as compared to other alkali metals. Why lithium shows anomalous nature as compared to other alkali metal, we will see. Listen, why you have to remember this point. What happened among these points, whatever point I will explain now, in need they ask which one of the following statement is incorrect about anomalous nature of lithium. Okay. Or beryllium. There is in group second, the beryllium is also shows such type of anomalous nature. We will see after some time. So what you have to do, you have to remember this point only. You have to memorize it. Okay. Now I am going to explain one by one. The first one is, it is comparatively harder than other alkali metals. Right, sir? It is comparatively harder than other alkali metals. Number next, it can be melted in dry air without losing brilliance. Right? Number third, lithium is least reactive among all elements. Lithium is least reactive among all elements. Okay. Number third, why it is to be done? Okay, because it is not affected by air. It decomposes water slowly to liberate hydrogen. Okay. Okay, remember this part only. It hardly reacts with bromine, while other alkali metal reacts violently with bromine. See here. What is say? Lithium very hardly react with bromine, but other alkali metals react it very easily. This point is not mentioned in NCERT book, but I have prepared these notes. In that notes I have covered this point. But as far as your NCERT book, this point is, this sentence is not given in that one. Okay. Now come to next. A very important point. It is very important one again. Lithium is the only element which react with nitrogen to form lithium nitride. To form the lithium nitride. Okay. Now come to next. Lithium when heated with ammonia, it forms amide, while other only. Okay. Lithium when heated in ammonia forms amide. Okay. I take it upside if you are not able to see. Okay. Are you able to see now? Yes. Problem, no problem. Okay, lithium when heated in ammonia forms amide Li2NH, while other elements form MnH2. This is the important. See here, this is the very important one. Here I am doing that one now. I am underlining that one and coloring that one. Now see here, what is to be going on? This is to be going on. Here Li2NH will be the formula when lithium is forming amide. For other elements, sodium, potassium, their formula will be NaNH2, KNH2. Okay, so this is the difference that lithium show such type of property. Now one more you see here. Lithium is less basic and less soluble in water as compared to other elements. Now come to next. Lithium bicarbonate is liquid while other metal carbonates are solid. So I have mentioned, okay, last one I will take, after that I will stop. Okay, now only lithium carbonate, see here, now only lithium carbonate decompose on heating, whereas other carbonate do not decompose on heating, as says earlier. Okay, these are the points that of lithium which you have to remember. Why lithium has anomalous nature as compared to other elements of alkali metals. Okay, if you remember this point, then what I say, which one is the incorrect statement about that, or which is the correct statement, such type of question they ask in exam. Okay, now come towards diagonal relationship. What is diagonal relationship? You already studied in periodic table that of period second and third element shows similarities between their properties diagonally. Lithium is diagonally related with magnesium. It means that the properties of lithium and magnesium are almost same because they have charge by mass ratio, excuse me, because they have charge by mass ratio nearly same, and also they have nearly same size. That's why they show similar properties. So what are that properties? See here, both lithium and magnesium are harder, right sir? Okay, right. Okay, I'll taking, don't worry. Next is, sorry, what is that sir? Due to covalent nature, chlorides, both lithium and magnesium, deliquescent and soluble in alcohol and pyridine. Okay, deliquescent means they get hydrated. That elements get hydrated. That's why they are easily soluble in alcohol and pyridine, whereas other alkali metals do not do that. Now come towards fluorides, phosphates of lithium, magnesium are sparingly soluble in water, whereas other elements are highly soluble. Now come to next. Carbonates of lithium, magnesium decompose on heating, liberate CO2. Already you see. Okay, and here equation is already I explained. No problem. Come to next. Now here magnesium carbonate get decomposed to oxide and carbonate. Now last one point is here. Hydroxides and nitrates of both lithium and magnesium decompose to give oxide. Very important. See here please. It is very, very important. What it says, hydroxide or nitrates of lithium and magnesium, they on heating after decomposing, they form lithium oxide. Both magnesium and lithium. But other elements do not do that. They do different. See here for magnesium. It is for magnesium. Sorry, I'll take here. This is for magnesium. Okay. The other element form nitrate. Or other element of nitrate form nitrate. Okay. Now come to next. Hydroxides of other alkali metals are stable towards heat, while their nitrates give oxygen. Okay. Now see here. Okay. Here upside I am showing you. Hydroxides of alkali metals are stable toward heat. Okay. But here I am taking alkali metal, but it is lithium. Lithium is not stable because it gets decomposed to form oxide and what is just water. In the same fashion, in case of alkaline earth metal, magnesium will do that. That it will form magnesium oxide. Well, last one I will take here. Both lithium and magnesium react directly with nitrogen to form nitride. So these 6 points at least you have to remember for your exam. That again the method of asking question is same. Which one is the correct statement as far as diagonal relationship about lithium and magnesium? They will provide you few sentences. You have to remember that. Okay, or they may provide 2 or 3 sentences, and they may give which one is the correct and wrong, first and second, second and third. Such type of questions they may be asked in JEE or NEET. Okay. Now we'll move forward. Now sodium and its compound. It is again very small and short point for this group 1. That in this chapter they have provided 4 compounds of sodium and 4 compounds of calcium, about which you have to study. Not too much reaction, only how they are prepared, what are their uses and properties. So the first one is sodium carbonate. The first one is sodium carbonate. It is also called as washing soda. Okay. Okay. Now how it is prepared? How it is prepared? See here. It is prepared by Solvay process. You have to remember this point. It is prepared by Solvay process. In this case, what you do, you are applying the phenomenon of common ion effect. You are applying the phenomenon of common ion effect. In case of sodium bicarbonate, you are adding NaCl with that one. So with that one, you are try to obtaining sodium carbonate. So whatever reactions are taking place here, I am going to show you here, and you please try to note down this reaction. And I hope you already studied at your 11th class level, but I am only trying to showing you. Okay. What is to be going on here? First of all, you are trying to form ammonium carbonate. After that ammonium carbonate, with the help of NaCl, what you are obtaining? You are obtaining sodium bicarbonate, and that sodium bicarbonate on heating, it will produce Na2CO3. That is your desired product. Here I am showing you, don't worry. I will take upside. No problem. Okay, I will take upside now. I will take upside, don't worry. Okay. Okay, these are the reaction. Okay, after what happens, sir? After sodium bicarbonate is prepared, you provide heat, then you will obtain Na2CO3. Whatever ammonia you have taken here, it gets regenerated in this process. Okay. Now, what you have to remember for that? Here, all the 4 processes are given. They may ask which pair, arrange the following pairs. That Solvay process is used for sodium bicarbonate, sodium carbonate, or anything else. Such type of question they may be also asked. Okay. Now, come towards again the next compound is here. I take sodium, extraction of sodium. Okay. Extraction of sodium is done by the Down process. It is an electrolytic process. When you do the electrolysis of pure and molten NaCl, you will obtain sodium at cathode and chlorine at anode. Here reactions are given for them. Okay, I'll take here. Okay, I make them large. Some large, you are able to see that one. Okay, now you are not able to see. Sorry. I will take them. As far as redox reaction, if you have seen, if you have finished, then you are able to see that what is to be going on here. Okay. So dear student, how it is prepared? You are taking You are taking a molten or fused NaCl in an electrolytic cell. By doing electrolysis, at cathode you are obtaining sodium metal, and at anode you are obtaining chlorine gas. Okay, still you are not able to see. I will make it last to that one. Now you are seeing, okay, chlorine combine to form Cl2. So now you have to remember, for the extraction of sodium, what you are doing, you are doing this down process. Okay, well, come to next, sodium chloride. Mostly sodium chloride we are obtaining from seawater, and it is not too much in detail. Now come to next, sodium hydroxide. Okay, sodium hydroxide, that is also called as caustic soda. Now how it is prepared, see, when sodium carbonate, see here, I'll take its reaction, then I'll explain. When sodium carbonate is treated with lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, it will form NaOH. Okay, but at industrial level, it is prepared with the help of Kastner-Kellner process, that is mercury cathode process. Here again you are doing electrolysis. By this process, here I am taking upside, by doing by the electrolysis of NaCl, you are obtaining this what is that, sir? Sodium hydroxide. What you will do here? Okay, here reaction is same. Okay, so here whatever reaction you are seeing here, whatever reaction you are seeing in down process, that Na plus Na and Cl, it forms chlorine. The thing is going on for sodium hydroxide. What happened? In this case, cathode you are taking a mercury metal. In case of Kastner-Kellner process, sorry, Kastner-Kellner process, that is mercury as cathode. At that cathode, sodium is deposited as amalgam, and after dissolving, after obtaining sodium, you dissolve that sodium amalgam in water, and you are obtaining your sodium hydroxide. Okay, so you remember, for preparation of sodium hydroxide, we are taking Kastner-Kellner process for mercury, sorry, for sodium hydroxide. That is, in this case, mercury acts as cathode. Now again, as you study about what's lithium, its anomalous nature. Here again 4 to 5 points I am going to explain about anomalous nature of beryllium. The way of asking the question is same. Beryllium is lightest element, whereas lithium was the hardest. Come to next, it has higher melting point and higher boiling point. Now remember one important thing, it is very important now. In this case, beryllium oxide is amphoteric in nature, that is, it will act as both acid and base. If you treat beryllium oxide with acid, it will act as base. If you treat beryllium oxide with base, it will act as acid. Okay, but other oxides of this group second are totally alkaline in nature, that is magnesium or calcium or other oxides. Okay, now it is not affected by air and does not decompose water at ordinary temperature. Now next, beryllium sulfate is soluble in water, whereas other sulfates of alkaline earth metals are insoluble in water. It is important point. And one more thing is, beryllium and magnesium do not impart color to the flame. As I explained in my first lecture, that these beryllium and magnesium do not impart color to the flame because they have small size and electrons are tightly bonded by the nucleus. Okay, now these properties you have to remember. Now we will move again forward, that is diagonal relationship between, beryllium with aluminium. As you see, a lithium with magnesium, the thing is same, beryllium with aluminium. The reason is same atomic size, same charge by mass ratio. Now come here. Now what is to be going on? I will explain 4 points here. See, beryllium and aluminium have almost same and smaller size, thus have favor the covalent bonding. Yes, because of small size, both form covalent compounds, whereas other metals form ionic compounds. Okay. Now it is what I say, on the basis of Paul's rule, this phenomena is explained. Now come to next. Sorry, because I want to take the points that are important and that is given in your NCRT book for NEET exam. Like beryllium oxide, Al2 is also amphoteric in nature, and here reactions are given. You already see in your book. You can go and see there. But you remember this point, that what is the anomalous proper, what is the similarities between lithium and that. Now last one is here. Beryllium and aluminum both react with sodium hydroxide to liberate hydrogen, forming berylates. These are the reaction illuminates for them. Okay, this sodium berylate, this is aluminate. So this is all about the compounds of, it's a diagonal relationship of beryllium and aluminium. Now come towards last session, last point of this chapter. Okay. Now as you study about calcium compound, here again sodium compound, few calcium compounds are also given. What you have to remember? Again thing is same, you have to remember their formula, name of the method by which they are prepared. Okay, this is the most important one. The first one is calcium oxide. The first one is calcium oxide. It is also called as what, sir? What you are observing, it is also called as quicklime. How it is prepared? See, it is prepared when calcium oxide, its preparation is given out downside, because here is something wrong. I missed that reaction, I think. Okay, it's a very simple reaction. I will show you, don't worry. It is when you heat calcium carbonate, it will form calcium oxide. Okay, it is not coming here, no problem. Okay, I'll tell you. Calcium oxide. When you have calcium carbonate, CaCO3, okay, that is limestone. When you heat limestone, it will form carbon dioxide and what is that, sir? Calcium oxide. Okay. Now, next compound is plaster of Paris. Next compound is plaster of Paris. What is plaster of Paris? See here. Plaster of Paris is nothing but this is the sulfate of calcium with hemihydrated, which is hemihydrated. Okay. Calcium sulfate, that is plaster of Paris. For which purpose it is using? Okay. There are number of accidents are going on. Then doctor do plaster. That plaster is nothing but it is plaster of Paris. That is calcium sulfate. How it is to be hardening? See here. Well, plaster of Paris come in contact with water, it is getting hardened. And form CaSO4 2H2O. That is gypsum type of compound that is very hard, and it gets settled down. I am not explaining in detail. I am only touching this point. Remember, I am not going in this topic in too much detail. I am just showing that this is the compound, this is the formula, this is the way of preparation, and you try to remember only this level. Okay, this point. The previous part of this chapter, that is mostly related with the concept of chemical bonding, that is important. All the parts are only and only memory based. You have to write again and again and recall it and remember it. Then last one is calcium hydroxide. I am taking here, and if you dissolve calcium hydroxide in water, it will form calcium dihydroxide. That is nothing but slagged lime. Okay. If you pass more and more, I take here carbon dioxide, then what happens? Whatever suspension you are observing when you are adding calcium oxide in water, see here, in this case, I take the other color, don't worry. Okay, I take this color. Okay, calcium oxide when you are added in water, it will form calcium hydroxide, that is like lime. It is totally suspensible. But if you provide more and more amount of carbon dioxide, what happened? It will form this calcium bicarbonate if you add excess of CO2. So this point you have to remember as far as the concept of this calcium hydroxide is related. Okay. Now one more important thing for this is that, okay, it is, I'll take it again now. Calcium hydroxide when reacted with chlorine, it will form bleaching powder, CaOCl2. Okay, you remember this one of the important reaction. I think you also study in hydrogen. Okay, now come to the last point, that is cement. What is cement? It is an important compound by which we are building number of, you are doing a study. Okay, I'll show its reaction. Okay, it is not given. Okay, here composition of cement I have mentioned. Mainly lime is the main component of this cement. Okay, lime, CaO. Okay, and with that one, calcium oxide, silica, alumina, they are combined with clay and that form your cement. So it is theoretical part, you study yourself, you just only read and memorize it. It is sufficient for you. The last point which I want to tell you now, still one more point is there, that is biological importance. You already studied in biology that due to calcium, potassium and sodium, where they are exist, what is the advantage for nerve impulses and maintaining ionic imbalance, that you study, that read only, that is theoretical part. As far as this chapter is concerned, the previous part what I've taken, it is important. You have to apply concept of chemical bonding on this topic. Okay, and last you remember which are the different ways of preparing that particular compound. Okay, I take this one too much fast because we have a very small time to complete this topic, but whatever extent possible we try to do our best. Okay, okay, thank you.